And at 10, Five Nights at the Car. This game makes me need to go to confession because the sheer amount of rage this game fills me with. The pure anger I feel thanks to this game cannot go away. I can't even call this a game. It doesn't deserve to be on this list because, well, it isn't a game. This is a goddamn set of 3 pictures. Nothing more than that. Just 3 goddamn JPEG files, not even PNGs. How was this allowed to be on Game Jolt? Is there no rule that there has to be an exe file? Like, this makes me so angry. What the actual hell? The description of this game is even worse. It's, hey bro, thanks for doing this job. You are a 10-year-old kid who is in his car at the mall waiting for your mom. But weird things want to kill you, so your job is to protect yourself from them. If you're hearing this, you're crazy. End quote. What? This thing is so absurdly bad that it hurts me. This is literally just a JPEG file that looks absolutely atrocious. Like, I know it takes a lot to make a game, but these images were made in what looks like MS Paint, not even Paint 3D. I could make a better game than this. Like, this is just a cardinal sin of humanity that needs to just be taken out back right between the eyes. That's why I will send you to confession. This is why I need to go to confession. And at 9, Five Nights at F-Boys. Five Nights at F-Boys is a FNAF fan game created by Sabo Lin and Joshua Shaw, an RPG maker version X Ace featuring unfair difficulty, text-to-speech voice acting, and beautiful animatronic yiffing. You control Freddy, who decided that he wants to have a radical night of hardcore debauchery, and the surveillance cameras of the pizzeria are the only thing standing in his way. With the help of Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy, Freddy must destroy the cameras so that he can have the time of his life. The Game Jolt page lists the features as over 50 lines of voice-acted dialogue by text-to-speech programs, infuriatingly powerful and frustrating main bosses, even more infuriatingly powerful and frustrating bonus bosses. Seriously, even the regular encounters will fucking destroy you. Free money, Balloon Boy, Foxy pleasuring themselves, and Dragon adult recreational devices. Oh, homicidal party hats, and Tupac. And at 8, FNAF 3 PowerPoint Edition. I think this game makes some sense as to why it's on this list already. It's a game that, from the description, was made in PowerPoint. This FNAF game was made in PowerPoint. How the ever-loving hell did that work? How can you make a FNAF game in PowerPoint? Like, imagine if that's how Scott released the first game. That's just a freaking PowerPoint file. That would have been insane. Plus, this is just a very simple, like, click a couple times and get jump scared kind of thing. Don't even actually play. I mean, like, at least this jump scare is scarier than the original FNAF 3 jump scare, though. Zing! Like, this is just a sin because it feels bad and wrong to play it. Or to even have it downloaded, honestly. I thought that the whole it's a PowerPoint thing was a joke, but no. It's literally a PowerPoint that you just click through.
Number 7. I Love You, Colonel Sanders. I Love You, Colonel Sanders is an off-the-rail dating sim that takes you to all sorts of wild places. And best thing is, it is completely free to play, as it basically also serves as a playable video game version of a KFC ad. In this game, you are romancing none other than the Colonel himself. Or is he romancing you? You are attending a prestigious cooking school, which is where you both meet, and throughout the course of the game you will get to compete in cooking competitions while also trying to win the heart of the handsome Sanders, and maybe even try to become his business partner as well. Some people think this game is too ridiculous to play, and I mean, they're kinda right. It definitely is ridiculous, but you should also definitely play it, in my humble opinion, because it's ridiculous, but I don't think it's too ridiculous. It's just the right amount for me.
And at 6, Golden Freddy's Debauchery Simulator. The description for this game starts off with a warning right away. Quote, "This is just a fan game for Five Nights at F-Boys and not a game by the original creators. I am not trying to take credit for making the original games, and I am just a fan of the original FNAF games, who had too much time on their hands." This is a Five Nights at F-Boys fan game where you play as the best character, Golden Freddy, during the 5 days prior to the first FNAF Night of Debauchery, as he has not just a night of debauchery, but a complete week of debauchery. But some F-Lord keeps shitting on everything he loves, progressively making stuff and contrived reasons for the first game's events ensue. And just like Five Nights at F-Boys, this has a list of unnecessary details. Unnecessary difficulty. Seriously, this game will kick your teeth in if you aren't prepared. Party hats everywhere. Terrible fan-made dialogue. Golden Freddy. Brutal romantic pirate conquest. Whatever that means. And finally, Wyvern adult battery operated fake extremities that I cannot talk about on YouTube. Yeah, it's one of those games. Halfway through, and at number 5, more nodes. The mod itself, I don't think is actually called more nodes, but what it's probably called isn't going to be allowed on YouTube. So yeah, I'll just call it more nodes for now, and if you want to look it up later, you can. Basically, this mod edits certain Skyrim body mods like UNP and adds more areas to the body that physics can be applied. Basically, it turns compatible female body mods into jiggle physics emulators. So I think you can see where I'm going with this one, alright? HDT physics is nothing new with Skyrim mods, especially in this area. However, where I think that this mod in particular really stands out over the other jiggle mods that you can get is that this one's VR compatible. And I don't mean that like it won't crash your game when you boot it up. I'm saying that these nodes that it adds are capable of being interacted with using your VR character's hands. So yeah, you can just start walking around slapping characters' butts. You can commit even more crimes now in game. You can start assaulting people with more than just bloody knuckles. So yeah, I'm sure you can understand why this mod would put a strain on your love life. And no, ironically enough, this isn't the one that ruined mine. And for Purple Guy Simulator. Purple Guy Simulator isn't exactly the most sinful game. It's something that I was actually asking for, honestly, but I personally wanted it in VR. But straight up, I love the fact that there is actually a Purple Guy Simulator. Going around to Freddy's Pizzeria, killing kids, and then shoving their bodies into animatronic suits until you get caught by the cops is certainly something that I find blissful. It's relaxing, running around trying to find a kid who's alone so that you can shove a knife in their chest and then try to hide their body before anyone, like another kid or like another parent, finds it. Oh man. My biggest question is, why do parents keep bringing their kids to these restaurants if children end up going missing there? And a lot of children when I play. Like, who thought that the continued attendance to Freddy Fazbear's was a good idea? Hell, if someone sneezed in the wrong way, my father would like tell us not to go there for like 5 years after that. Like, Barney was banned in my household for whatever reason. Getting close to the end at number 3, Brush Up VR. Have you ever wanted to brush the teeth of a weird little blue monster that appears right behind you after you pick up your toothbrush? Well, if so, you really are into some weird things. Don't get me wrong, I'm not kink shaming, and oral hygiene is very important. At least that's what my dentist told me last time I was there a couple years ago. But why would you want this to happen? Anyway, the game just basically gives you a timer that makes you need to brush the teeth before the music stops, and it gets faster and faster as time passes, giving you an easy indication of your time left. And this game is an award winner. If you consider the Health Gaming Award for Innovation in Games and Simulation from America's prestigious Institute for Medicine in 2015 an award. The game is like $1.09 on Steam Canadian, which is probably like 65 cents American. Maybe you can educate your children on brushing, I don't know. The creators of this also have a mixed reality game that aids with brushing, which is probably the one that won the award, if I'm being honest. But like, you know, just a little blue dude, you brush his teeth, nothing more. Penultimately, in at number 2, A Shadow Over Freddy's. A Shadow Over Freddy's is a short point-and-click exploration horror game created to showcase unique free-roam gameplay while keeping the spirit of Five Nights at Freddy's intact. This is actually a really good fan game, honestly. Playing as an individual trapped inside an abandoned Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, you must traverse the location while avoiding the creeping darkness that infests every corner of the building. Complete different objectives each night, uncover your lost memories, and find a way out of this accursed restaurant. Relive the horror of the first FNAF game as you explore every nook and cranny of this dilapidated remains of the original location, but with a new twist on the formula that will scare even veterans of the series. However, the sinfulness of this game doesn't come from trying to sleep with or woo animatronics. Instead, it's sinful for the same reason that Purple Guy Simulator is. Because at the end of the game, it is revealed that you are William Afton. So yeah, you play again as the psychotic killer of the series. And as we hear Henry say in FNAF 6, we're keeping the devil waiting. And finally, in at number 1, Five Nights in Anime. I mean, look, I know that people's love of animatronics can get a little weird, but even I, of all people, someone who constantly jokes about hitting on Toy Chica and then actually goes and does it, I was surprised to learn that this game existed when Amanda mentioned it in the weirdest FNAF fan game collab video. I honestly imagined that this is what Five Nights at Love was going to be, and I've seen a lot of fan art for this franchise. A lot. And I thought I had seen it all, but apparently I hadn't. Enter Five Nights in Anime. Oh boy, this is a game that was created to parody Five Nights at Freddy's, obviously, but instead of you being a security guard at Freddy's, you've been hired as a late night security guard at an anime convention. You know where this is going. And it's up to you to watch these anime style female animatronic versions of the Freddy's cast. Hijinks ensue. We've still got the core cast of animatronics, but just as well endowed anime women, because why not? I think the really weird thing about this game is that how many people want more of it, and like it got a second game. And not only that, but these characters, they aren't actually women, they're still animatronics. They're full on animatronics and they're not even possessed. So what's the point?
Number 10, Sakura Wars. Some of my favorite RPGs also have romance elements to them, like the Dragon Age series, and this is also what you get with the 2019 Sakura Wars, which is half open world RPG, complete with combat, and half dating sim, blending both wonderful worlds of gaming together. In this game, you play as Seijiro Kamiyama, a soldier who faces off against demons. And throughout your adventures, there are also plenty of ladies for you to romance along the way. One of my favorite pastimes, obviously, is kicking butt and romancing pretty ladies, so for me, this is a win-win. It also means you won't have to go out into the world to find a date, which I think is a major plus, especially since kicking demon butt in the real world is not really a thing you can do. So that part of the game, we can't really live that fantasy. I mean, kicking butt, sure, but kicking demon butt? Not really a thing. Number 9, Honey Pop. Racy and yet nuanced, Honey Pop is a dating sim that also mixes in Bejeweled style gameplay, where you must match 4 symbols in order to interact with the characters. So for those of you that are like me and love dating sims and love matching games, which I do, this is a great one. The only downside to this and some other games in terms of the dating simulator world is it's not a super diverse cast. I mean, it's only really ladies, as rad as they are, and that's kind of the options that you have when it comes to who you can date. I like things that are a little bit more like you can date this lady, this guy, this thing, this gelatinous cube. I mean, whatever options I can get, I will take. However, something that I find really cool about Honey Pop is that it is a game where paying attention is really rewarded and where the conversations feel more meaningful in regards to using the information that you've learned about your potential dates to your advantage. And friends, before we move on to this next spot, if you are loving this list and you want more lists about dating sims from us, please be sure to let us know in the comments below. And click that like button while you're on your way down there. Number 8, Kiss You. Kiss You isn't technically out yet, but I just know it's going to be a great game because of the folks who are working on it. So it's definitely one you'll want to watch out for, which is why I included it here. Kiss You does also have a playable demo available now, so if you're itching to see what this game will be like, that is something you can definitely check out. Kiss You is described as a spicy high fantasy dating sim / arcade puzzler for adults from Babs Tarr and Sam Thurman. In this game, you attend Kiss University as a student where you must balance classwork, your social life, and of course, your fiery romances. As this is set in a fantasy world, there are all sorts of characters for you to date as well, which I love. The game was successfully funded on Kickstarter and features art from Babs and writing from Critical Role artist and comics author Kendra Wells.
And at 7, Five Nights at Wario's Debauchery Simulator. Made by Tonkoi on Game Jolt, the description for Five Nights at Wario's Debauchery Simulator reads, quote, "Wario wants to find the murderer who killed them so they can go on a adventure that is full of MLG." And that's it. The credits are to WWW Wario for creating Five Nights at Wario's and Scott Cawthon for making FNAF. This is just a sin, not even if you play it, but like if you just so much as look at the Game Jolt page, you're going to hell. This just screams shit show, and to be frank, I don't really want to have to deal with it. This is almost certainly a riff on another fan game, which subsequently was inspired by Five Nights at Boys, so I don't know what to do anymore. Like, is this a fan game, or is it a fan game of a fan game of a fan game, or is it just like a fan game of a fan game? I don't know, my brain hurts.
Number 6, Senran Bunka. Senran Bunka is a visual novel that was made in honor of Ubisoft's 10th anniversary, and it definitely is not the only dating sim that they have in their catalog. It is one of the best rated dating sims on Steam currently, and is more your traditional dating sim, focusing on the narrative and characters, and like I said, being a visual novel. In fact, this is a dating sim that I'd highly recommend just for the fact that it is one so many awards, nominated for awards for best art, music, and characters, and winning many of the ones it happened to be nominated for. Senran Bunko was released in 2020, and it also features great voice acting as well, which I love a dating sim that actually has voice acting because there's so many that don't. They maybe give you like an aha when someone speaks or something, but not like actual someone saying words.
Halfway through at number 5, Accounting Plus. Accounting Plus is the other popular VR game on this list. The game was created by the designer of the Stanley Parable and the creators of Rick and Morty, so you know it's gonna be good. The game is so damn weird. You basically start off in an accounting office saying that the new and best way to do any accounting is in virtual reality, since time passes slower in real life when you're in the game. Like the way dreams work in Inception, the deeper you go, the faster you can get your work done. However, you don't actually do any accounting. I know, I'm sorry for the like 0.1% of you that were actually looking for a game about your lifelong accounting dream. Accounting Plus literally has you go through a forest that ends up being set on fire, the king of VR's chambers where you promptly kill him and wears hard as goggles. You then have a court session and a load of other stuff. And for all you theorists out there, you may already know, but there is a real mystery going on in the game called the zoo level. Apparently there is a secret zoo level hidden inside Accounting Plus that is the hardest level to reach in the game. It could have been found already, I'm not sure, but it could also just not exist. There's an entire level dedicated to the mystery of the zoo level in this game. It's really meta, but we honestly don't know if the level actually exists. The zoo level. The level about the zoo level exists.
Number 4, Perfect Date. Do you like cats? How do you feel about unique and quirky cats that you can date? In Perfect Date, you are a researcher on Cat Island who mysteriously finds himself slowly transforming into a small feline yourself. In order to learn more about the mystery of your transformation, the island, and the cats, you must date the other cats on the island, which are praised among dating sim circles for their unconventional and unusually hilarious personas. Perfect Date might seem like an odd one to include because I think dating cats is definitely something that people are going to judge you for, but it's also something that within the context of this game is really entertaining and funny. Note, you probably should not date cats unless, like in this game, you're transforming into a literal cat. Just so you know, I don't condone the dating of cats otherwise, but I think in a game where you're a cat, then it's okay.
Getting close to the end at number 3, Bidgin NPCs. Bidgin NPCs is probably the funniest name for a mod that I've ever seen. Well, at least out of the mods on the Nexus. This mod, I believe, is actually potentially a collection of mods under the Bidgin NPCs umbrella. From the ones that I can remember, we have Bidgin Wives and Bidgin War Maidens, although those also may be separate mods with NPCs being its own. These mods modify certain NPCs though to look better, and it kind of removes the whole grunge and grime from their appearance. The NPCs edition of the mod focuses on Vex, Sapphire, Irileth, Rick, Hulda, Lisette, Carlotta, Carlia, Tanalia, Adrian, Maven, Ignan, Girder, and Ygritte, while the other sections focus on, well, their certain category. The War Maidens and the Mariable NPCs. However, I think that just the fact that I was unable to view this mod page without being logged in since it couldn't prove that I was over 18 gives you an idea about how this mod changes your game. It's not something as extreme as like a Lover's Lab mod, but it's definitely certainly making your significant other worrying about your next night together, especially if you've specifically downloaded the Bidgin Wives version, because like, you know.
Number 2, Speed Dating for Ghosts. This is one of my all-time favorite dating sims. Speed dating for ghosts will not just ruin your love life, but also might make you reflect on the afterlife and its inhabitants and ruin your thoughts of the afterlife and what it might be like. Or maybe make them better, not sure. In this game, you are a ghost looking for a soul mate, get it? To keep you company either for all of eternity or, you know, maybe just for now. We'll see where it goes. As much as this is a dating sim, it's also a game where you get to attempt to pull off bank heists, solve mysteries, and make not just romantic connections, but also platonic connections as well. Oh yeah, and did I mention that you also get to go to hell for even more dating fun at the end of the game? It's pretty awesome. It's a party and a half. The game is short, but it's also adorable, and there have been many nights I've stayed up late just to enjoy some ghostly speed dates. It's one of those games that it's hard for me to put it down once I start it. Number 1, Monster Prom. Probably one of my favorite dating sims around, but also one that will leave you feeling completely frustrated, is Monster Prom. Monster Prom is kind of a puzzle of a dating simulator with so many choices and options available to you. You will certainly feel somewhat overwhelmed on your first playthrough here. This is a dating sim where you are a monster at Spooky High. With only 3 weeks left till the Monster Prom, you must search to find a date. Although one of my favorite elements of this game is that actually in the end, you still always have the option to fly solo at the prom and kind of go it alone if you'd rather. I didn't have a date for my prom in real life when it happened, and I still had a blast, so I really like that. I like that even in a dating sim, there is an acknowledgement that you don't actually have to be coupled to have a good time at prom. Or anywhere, really.
In a 10 alternate start, live another life. Skyrim is one of those games that I go back to all the time. I've played through the game I don't know how many different times, and every time I do, of course, I end up being a stealth archer. However, they all start differently, and the typical get caught in a dragon attack in Helgen thing gets old. In fact, it gets old after the first time, really. And that might stop some people from playing it over and over again, but not anymore. With the alternate start live another life mod, well, I mean, I'm sure anyone who actually knows Skyrim modding knows about this mod, and I feel like the title is fairly evident. Basically, you can become anyone using this mod. You can choose from like 20 different starting options that each have their own options, and they give you a slight backstory as well as a new starting location that isn't Helgen. But before that, like, you don't even need to be the Dragonborn too. But once you're ready to become the Dragonborn, you can make your way to Helgen and start the main story as normal. This caused me to play through the game so many times that I actually ended up bailing on a girlfriend in the past because I would have rather been playing Skyrim. Grade 10 was weird, guys. Okay, it's a long story. In at 9, relationship dialogue overhaul. The relationship dialogue overhaul is exactly what it sounds like. It unlocks various lines of dialogue previously cut from the game for whatever reason and actually re-enables them. According to the mod page, this quote adds over 5,000 lines of completely voiced dialogue for NPCs using the original voices. Friends, followers, spouses, rivals, and others have much more to say. All default voices now have follower dialogue, and it also fixes dialogue bugs and restores cut dialogue that has never been heard before. Based on the relationship the NPC has with the player that works with the existing dialogue from the game. Yeah, you get more bang for your buck. Finally, considering how I've bought the game 4 times, I feel like I deserve it. All the lines are voiced using the original voices from the game and consist of existing lines that have been added in new and suitable situations, as well as completely new dialogue that was created by editing multiple lines together to form brand new ones. Some of which sound like they were recorded, but a few of them you can tell were a little spliced. Friends talk to you more like friends, followers have much more to say when you're talking to them, and if your spouse is a follower, they will actually talk to you like a spouse instead of a follower. So basically this just makes your spouse more like your spouse in game. I have to say in game. And well, like, you know, they won't repeat the same 8 things over and over again. So yeah, more variety in game means more trouble outside. And by outside I mean in the apartment, because we don't go outside. In at 8, immersive armory. Immersive armory, like alternate start, adds so much to Skyrim that it feels like a whole DLC. What I call the immersive armory though is really just the immersive weapons and immersive armor mods that I think were at least at one point separate, but as of special edition they might be packaged together. Although given that some people may want one over the other, I don't know if they are still like together or if they're separate. I don't know how it's going normally, but no matter the actual technicalities, the immersive armor and the immersive weapons mod add enough to your game to keep it feeling like vanilla Skyrim, but giving it that extra bit of oomph. The armors are cool, and with the variations on the armor itself in the mod, you can customize certain aspects to make your character truly unique. But this also adds another element of exploration, and for those completionists who want to collect everything they can, you're gonna be in for one hell of a ride. With hundreds of new items added to the game, you're gonna be working with like that smithing tree for a long time to be able to get complete access. I could have included like the Legacy of the Dragonborn mod, the mod that adds like the Dragonborn Museum in Solitude that you can fill out, but I feel like this one's more accessible to everyone, even though it's 2 mods, or I guess now technically 3. And it's 7, BAM Squad. BAM Squad was probably pitched as a what if COD zombies met Minecraft in virtual reality. This game is basically a co-op zombie shooter where you and up to 3 others need to defend a candy shop from a zombie horde. I don't know if these are zombies or just sugar-deprived North American children, especially Canadians. If we don't get our maple syrup, then we're getting the Mounties and every moose we can muster, and we're coming over for you, Miss Buttersworth. I just said that so I didn't offend any of the US people, because highest obesity. Anyway, honestly, I wonder what the lore of this game is. The Steam page straight up says the zombies are eating human flesh and candy, but if we waited long enough, would they just have resorted to candy, thus letting us walk by? Because if that's the case, then us trying to defend the candy shop is a terrible idea and we should feel bad. Us doing this could be directly contributing to the continuation of the zombie apocalypse. The way 2020 is going, that's a bad idea. And at 6, Summer Mist Enchantments. Summer Mist Enchantments is another one of those mods that isn't gonna ruin your love life because of its content, but rather how much time you'll be spending playing the game because of it. Summer Mist Enchants is the special edition version of the Winter Mist Enchants mod, so if you see that one, they're basically one and the same. This mod adds things like shout cooldown enchantments to armor, experience boosting enchantments, and much more. From what I remember off the top of my head, there was one for making the ground shake when you landed, one for summoning a spectral warrior when you took damage, and one that generates random amounts of gold every day, but once you take off that piece, that amount of money disappears. So finding all those enchantments and then trying to find the best combo for your character is definitely going to kill your love life just because you won't have time for anything else. Halfway through into number 5, Five Nights at Chucky's. In a few days, the old animatronics are going to be replaced, although that means someone's going to have to watch over the restaurant during the transitionary period. And management has given you a new temporary position as a night watchman. You've been provided with security cameras to ensure your and the animatronic safety, along with a personal phone guide. It should be a simple job, right? This is an official, complete reboot of the popular 2015 FNAF fan game Five Nights at Chuck E. Cheese's, featuring new mechanics, graphics, and more, while still keeping the spirit of the original game. A god FNAF fan game about Chuck E. Cheese. What the absolute living hell, people? Why? Like, I understand that Freddy's is a riff on Chucky's, okay, but we don't need this. This is the one thing that I thought was going to be safe from the FNAF world due to fear of copyright strikes or trademark law violations, but no, they just went for it. And it's a shame, because I don't want to suffer for the mistakes of lesser men, but I guess that I have to. And now, you do too. When my kid asks me to go to Chuck E. Cheese and I say no, they're gonna get all mad, but they're not gonna understand why. This is why. And at 4, Reputation. Now, this doesn't do things like adding nodes or allowing you to have biological children. However, the Skyrim Reputation mod definitely is going to give you more reasons to keep on playing. With the Reputation mod installed, everything you do in-game will either make you more famous or more infamous. From quest lines to even how many bandits you kill, everything you do will make you either more of a good guy or a bad guy. But no matter which way you go, there will be different effects. From even Nazim no longer disrespecting you to being charged more at shops, the Reputation mod is such a subtle change that adds a huge amount to your game. This mod made me replay Skyrim so many times by myself, like, oh my god. I mean, like, I spent a load of time trying to fix my reputation after the Dark Brotherhood questline because I accidentally left it enabled for changing my score in the mod menu. You can turn certain things off, but after defeating Alduin, you're actually recognized as the Dragonborn and the savior of Skyrim, which is something that the main game was very much lacking. Alright, you saved them after, but then nobody cared. Because it's like they never thought that they were in danger. They're like, ah, no, he wasn't gonna eat the world anyway. Who cares, dude? Like, come on. This mod also fixes that, okay? And it lets you become famous. And I mean, who doesn't want that? At least in Skyrim.
Number 3, Dream Daddy. Not just an amazingly successful dating sim, but also now a comic as well. Dream Daddy was dreamed up by Game Grumps, famous for their YouTube videos and gameplays, with writing done by Leighton Gray and Vernon Shaw. In Dream Daddy, you take on the role of a single dad who has just moved to a new town with his daughter. And good news, there are tons of other single dads there for you to meet and possibly romance. Not only is this game hilarious and well written, but it also has a lot of heart as your daughter, Amanda, her name is also Amanda, helps to coax you out of your shell and supports you on your dating journey. Super cute. I'm not exactly sure how Dream Daddy could ruin your love life because it is just like really fun, unless I guess you fell more in love with the dads in this game than you did your own partner. Which could happen. The dads in this game are pretty great.
Then ultimately, in at number 2, CBBE. CBBE is one of, if not the most popular Skyrim mod of all time. Okay, well technically I think that Sky UI is the most popular mod, or maybe the unofficial patch, but those are more of fixes than mods in my eyes. Anyway, for those of you who don't know somehow, CBBE is actually an acronym standing for Caliente's Beautiful Bodies Edition, and it's a mod aimed at, well, I'm sure you can figure that out. Its main focus is adding bigger butts and boobs to female NPCs, which I'm sure you can understand why it's such a popular mod now. At this point, Skyrim is nothing more than one of those like you can't last 5 minutes playing this game ads, but actually real. Nevertheless, downloading this will ruin your love life in multiple ways. Firstly, okay, it could warp your perception of reality and then change your standards to be ridiculously high, as if society hasn't set those high enough as it is. Or two, it will also make your significant other question why you have these mods to begin with. And it works in every way, okay? Whether you're dating a male, a woman, a non-binary person, or otherwise identifying, they'll all have questions as to why you have this mod, okay? Like what? Is my body not good enough? Why are you installing that if you're not into women? The questions will just, it will flow out of them more than the waterfall at Bard's Leap. Not from personal experience, because, well, my last girlfriend honestly wanted me to have this mod installed even more than I did, I think, which explains a lot, but especially given the main use of this mod being to make NPCs naked, you can see why this may cause some issues and why I've really had to restrain myself when talking about it. And finally, in at number 1, the Serana Dialogue add-on. This number might, in all honesty, be a little too real for me, considering how I've been messing around most of this list. Okay, I've talked about it on my Instagram before, but over the past year or so, I've come to realize that the last relationship I was in was definitely an extremely toxic one. I was being manipulated and gaslit and a whole mess of other things. However, I thought what was going on was normal. Based on what I was seeing on social media and TV and just in my own life, I figured that this kind of behavior was normal and to be expected. However, something that started to clue me in into how messed up things really were was the Serana Dialogue add-on. Yeah, basically, with this mod installed, you'll want to do the Dawnguard DLC first before even the main vanilla quest line, since with this mod, Serana will have an incredible amount of additional dialogue about the main quest line, Dragonborn, and even guild storylines. But it also injects an element of romance into these stories and into the quest lines for those of you who wanted to marry Serana only to find out that she wasn't actually a candidate for it in the vanilla game. This fixes that, even after curing herself of vampirism. This mod eliminates that whole issue and it makes the connection more than just a you got me a mammoth's tusk because I was lonely, so how about we just get married instead thing, you know, the typical complete a quest, have them fall for you thing, okay? In this case, the dialogue choices matter, there are roleplay opportunities, and as sad as it sounds, it started me on the path of realizing that my situation wasn't healthy. And if you agree that that's sad, just imagine how bad it had to be for this to be what truly ended up ruining my love life. Yeah. And at 10, VR chat. VR chat is probably the most popular game on this list, with over 65,000 players thanks to its cross-platform multiplayer and its ability to be played without virtual reality. I'm sure all of you have heard about this game. It's basically a giant online chat room that you can experience in VR, but there's also custom game modes and games that you can play with your friends. If you're curious, it's the game that the boys use when they're like toothbrushes, and it's how they were playing Fall Guys in VR. I feel like that would be a fun video, but I doubt I'd be able to win it. Cue sad Grian meme. The game is free to play and is available on Steam, which is pretty sick, because I'm sure everyone who plays games on PC uses Steam, and it just makes things easier when you can invite people and make parties and stuff. VR chat is alright, but I honestly I'm more of like a gamer that wants something to do, so like games like The Forest or Blade and Sorcery, like where I can do whatever I want but there's always something to do and it's easily accessible, instead of just like standing around as a toothbrush or a banana. And at 9, KFC the hard way. The hard way is basically a euphemism for me whenever I think about KFC, but in the context of this game, it's a KFC virtual training escape room. Yep. This is also officially licensed and was created as a marketing tactic by Wyden and Kennedy for the KFC franchise. KFC has always been creative when it comes to advertising and marketing. The KFC bucket that was also a photo printer, sending a KFC sandwich to space, I think they did that right, a straight up OG food battle with Popeye's chicken sandwich, and the good old Colonel Sanders anime dating sim game that straight up looks like an episode of Food Wars. The game is free to play but is only available on the Oculus Store, meaning you PSVR and Vive users are gonna miss out, unless you have that program that allows you to get Oculus Store games on the Vive, but I don't condone nor approve the use of that program, at least officially. And at 8, traffic cop. Have you ever wanted to be a 1950s traffic cop that gets trash thrown at them as frustrated drivers cruise on by? Well, if you answered no, then you clicked on the wrong video. Traffic Cop is a virtual reality game that puts you smack dab in the middle of a busy intersection, direct traffic, dodge flying food unless you're hungry, unlock bonus rounds, hunt birds, and fight aliens as even the most normal traffic cops of the 1950s did. Don't worry, PETA, the birds you fight aren't real birds or even video game birds, they're just cardboard cutouts of birds that have targets words drawn on them. So you can chill out and you don't need to come for this game. Focus on the more important things, like how your games showcase more animal cruelty than the things you're fighting. Sorry, PETA always gets to me. But if you found that entertaining and want to check out a whole list of me ranting about PETA, check out the top right corner where you can go see the top 10 PETA games you won't believe exist. It's a doozy, I promise. And at 7, Skyrim family life. In Skyrim, you for some reason can't have an actual family. Okay, well obviously it's due to engine limitations, but you can't actually like have your own children. It's an interesting idea that many players wanted access to, because you can only actually adopt kids after the Hearthfire mod. But the Skyrim family life mod actually enables you to have biological kids with your Skyrim spouse. I don't exactly know how it works, but I mean, if you have a family in Skyrim, okay, what's the need to have one in real life, right? I mean, that's definitely going to make some people mad that I said that, but come on, okay? You have to understand how being able to have a biological kid with your video game wife is probably gonna cause some problems with your partner, or your video game wife, or husband, or whatever. I mean, but let's be honest, everyone who plays Skyrim probably plays as a female character, and they probably end up marrying women because men are trash. But considering that this mod, or at least a mod similar to this one, is compatible with certain Lovers Lab mods, and if you don't know what Lovers Lab is, then you probably don't need to be worrying about it anyway. Yeah, at least one version of the having biological kids mod genre, I guess, is a little more realistic than the typical black screen and a small block of text, or even just like sleeping in the bed next to your spouse, enabling the possibility of implied frisky time. So yeah, it's on this list for a reason. And at 6, Swing the Cat. Swing the Cat, also known as Alinity Simulator, is one of the worst VR games on Steam. And I'm saying that when I have safe search off. This game is actually based on the saying not enough room to swing a cat, in reference to the cat o' nine tails, a whip with 9 lashes. It means you have very little space in your area or are in cramped quarters, which is ironic for VR because, you know, I'm always punching the wall or myself in the face. The first use of this expression was recorded to be 1771, but I honestly don't know how they would know that, but whatever, I'm not one to judge. The game is basically the heavy ball toss from Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. I know this is from actual sporting events, but I'm explaining it for the sheltered gamers out there, so chill in the comments section, okay? I was one of them. This game also came out in 2018, which is before all the Alinity crap went down, so it's not actually meant to be a stab at her. It may just have been where she got her genius ideas. Sarcasm. The game runs for $1.19 on Steam Canadian and 71 cents American, and all you need to do is throw a cat over and over. It's not much, but it's honest work.
Number 5, Doki Doki Literature Club. Have you ever thought to yourself, this dating sim is great, but you know, it could be better if there were more psychological horror elements in there? No? Well then, you might not be ready for the wonder that is Doki Doki Literature Club. Doki Doki Literature Club is really a horror game disguised as a dating sim, but it also scratches a lot of that itch as well, especially in the first half of this game, which is more blatant dating sim until the horror starts to creep in and completely shock you during the second half, which might be a big reason why this one is included on the list. You'll love it, but it may also kinda ruin you. I also love how the trailer for Literature Club makes it seem completely innocent, like there's no signs of what is to come.
And at 4, Giant Cop. Have you ever wanted to fight crime by picking up a nudist on the beach and then yeeting them harder than Funtime Freddy yeets Bon Bon? Well, then Giant Cop is for you. Take on the role of a 300-foot cop whose job location has literally changed their policing to benefit him. They have a giant catchment zone so that when you find criminals the chief calls to tell you about, all you need to do is throw them into the correct zone at the police station to arrest them, without reading them their rights. But I guess in a world where there's a 300-foot tall police officer who can literally use buildings as tennis balls, there isn't really any logic behind reading them their rights. That's probably why so many people keep committing crimes when there is literally a dude who will pick you up and yeet you more than my ass yeets out Taco Bell, because they don't read their rights. They just get to leave. So like, they never really face justice. Is that how the law works? Hell, even cops don't know, am I right? And if you get mad about that statement, I meant the game. Getting close to the end, and in number 3, Five Nights of Love. Oh yeah, The game that I didn't know existed but had a feeling it would. This game actually inspired a whole series of lists that even though I didn't know that it was a thing until I looked it up. But I figured if KFC had a dating simulator, FNAF must have one too, right? And it absolutely does. You heard me right, ladies and gentlemen, a FNAF dating sim. You love shipping animatronics with everything, living or not, breathing or not, with a human trapped in a suit or even just a pile of trash, you'll still ship it, and it's disturbing. But this time, you get to decide who makes the cut in Five Nights of Love. Tracking via cameras the rooms of the public place, a player will periodically meet the live toy animatronics, Chica, Foxy, Freddy, and Balloon Boy. With every one of them, the player can have a heart-to-heart talk or hug these unfortunate freaks, as the game calls it, giving them all of their love and attention. Thanks to this treatment, the level of the toy's love towards you will only increase by 5% or 10%, but the energy level that you have consequentially will decrease by 10 or 25%. Once your energy is out, the player will have to return to their office and start the next day. However, you can also refill your energy at Balloon Boy by up to like 50% at once if you're lucky. But over a period of 5 days, you are trying to make these animatronics as happy as possible, earning bonus scores for how well you do. Penultimately, in at number 2, I am Jesus Christ. Have you ever wanted to be Jesus Crisp? No? Just me? Well, how about Jesus? Yes, if you ever wanted to be Chuck from Supernatural, then you're golden with this game releasing in 2021. Also, I know that Chuck wasn't Jesus, just let me have this. If you're skeptical, I understand. A game claiming to let you be Jesus seems like a stretch. Well, to you mortals at least. However, this game is from the same team that brought you Thief Simulator, an incredibly fun VR game and flat game that I've played myself. I really want to play this game. As soon as I found out it existed, I went on Steam to purchase it, which then made me realize it's not releasing until 2021, which honestly is surprising considering how this is the year that we need the miracles. However, getting 2021 would be a miracle in and of itself. Either way, I plan on playing through this game as Jesus Crisp, and when they leave me to age while being crucified, I know it will be worth it. Aged cheese is always better, okay? Take it from the king. A nice aged Gouda, it's very tasty. You thought I was gonna make a cheese pun. Finally, in at number 1, Alien Makeout Simulator. Okay, here we go. The real reason you clicked on the video. You knew I was going to be including some weird kink crap on this list, and you know it was going to involve aliens. It was inevitable. The Alien Makeout Simulator game is exactly what you'd expect. Nothing more, nothing less. Well, maybe something less if you think I'd be able to find this with safe search off. There's nothing like that in this game, people. At least, I hope not. I can hear all the 12-year-olds typing trying to find out how to turn safe search off, like Alien Makeout Simulator is what it sounds like. You make out with an alien at some alien bar, and honestly, with the way the world is right now, maybe this is what you need. I won't judge. In these weird times, we can all get a little weird with the games we play. Man, I'm saying weird a lot. Especially when we haven't felt the touch of another for the better part of 6 months. Meaning that the only intimacy we can get is through games like this and Kanojo VR's developer mod. The game is an itch.io game, so it's gonna be a little harder to get working with others, but at this point, it's probably worth it.